I'm Steve James, and this is 30 Minutes, our community affairs program on Thunderbolt Radio. On this week's program, we feature highlights from a program presented to the Union City Rotary Club by Union City native and current senior personnel executive for the Miami Dolphins, Jon Robinson. We hope you enjoy this week's program.
He's a 1994 graduate of Union City High School, played college football for 1 year at the Air Force Academy and 3 years at SEMO, served 12 seasons with the New England Patriots in various scouting roles, served 2 years as Director of Player Personnel for the Tampa Bay Bucks, served 7 seasons as GM for the Tennessee Titans, currently a Senior Personnel Executive with the Miami Dolphins. Jon is married to his wife Janie and has 2 daughters, Taylor and Bailey. So let's give Jon a warm Rotary welcome.
So in December of 2022, I was sitting in my office, door was closed after just getting the news that I had been let go. Met with the entire football staff, coaches, scouts, equipment, trainers. I'm still trying to process it, right? We were in first place, 5 games left in the season. We're number 1 seed in the AFC the year before. And just like that, it's over. I'm sitting there, it's quiet, and I get a... When I opened the door, Derrick Henry and Ben Jones, 2 of our Pro Bowl players, were standing there. As they come in, we sat. Nobody said much. We're all kind of in shock. They hugged me, and they thanked me. They didn't thank me for wins. They didn't thank me for contracts. Not for anything you'd really read in headlines. They thanked me for how I treated them and the culture that I had created. And in that moment, I realized something I should have realized a long time ago. People can take your job, they can take your title, but they can't take the impact that you have on other people. And that's kind of the message I want to share today. It's always good to be back here, see familiar faces. The last time I was here, I wrote the country song into my clothes, being from Nashville. So I'm going to do something similar today. I'm not going to sing, although I do have pretty good pipes. But this song kind of relates to me in my stage of life and where I'm at in my career. We still live in Nashville. A couple have asked me how sunny Florida is. I'm not there yet. But it's by Chris Stapleton. It's called Nashville, and it goes like this. This is the start to the song. It says, I met you when I had a dream, not so long ago, it seems. And this song is related to football. He's talking about bars, but you'll get the gist. I met you when I had a dream, not so long ago, it seems. We closed down 1 million bars. Yeah, you and me, we've come so far. You showed me how to write a song. We wrote some right, and we wrote some wrong. I was down and out, but you let me in. At times, you were my only friend. So you guys kind of covered my history. I wish I could blame Randy and Barry for giving me the football virus that caused me to chase this crazy game all over the world. But I think I caught that bug way before those 2 did. When I graduated from Union City, I knew I wanted to play college football. I got that opportunity at the Air Force Academy. Thought I was going to be a big-time Division I player. First off, I went to camp at the University of Tennessee. I trotted down there to where the linemen were because I was an offensive lineman. You know, I was a pretty good player. But when I got down there to the line area and the other recruits that the University of Tennessee was recruiting, and I looked up, I realized I was not going to be putting on orange anytime soon. So I went to the Air Force Academy. That lasted a whopping 6 months. after getting stuck in a tunnel, ripping the calluses off my hands on the pull-up bar and getting yelled at way too much. I love our servicemen and women, but it just was not for me. And SEMO gave me that opportunity over in Cape. I transferred there, played there, got a degree in mathematics education. I was going to teach and coach. I don't think, especially listening to them at lunch, Barry and Randy weren't math teachers. Nor were any of my coaches. So I thought I could, no offense, Coach Boykin, I thought I could set myself up pretty good here if I could teach math, because most coaches, it's the 3 R's. It's roll the ball out, call roll. It's the 3 R's. Roll the ball out, call roll, and read the newspaper. Mason, all right? Anyway, but God had other plans. Life had other plans. I went to Nicholls State. I coached down there for 2 years. Met my wife of now 25 years down there. God opened the door for me with the Patriots. I worked for the Patriots for 12 years, and then the Bucks, and then went to the Titans and ran the Titans from 2016 until 2022. And from the outside looking in, when I was in Tennessee, things were going pretty well. Not perfect, but we won. Won the AFC South in 2020 and 2021. Went to the AFC Championship game. And I never had a losing season while I was in charge there. And I still reflect, right? All of our careers, all of our jobs, when you look back on things that you did. And probably we had a lot of great on-the-field moments. But the 2 of the moments that I look back on, the first one was when we went to New England and played, Coach Belichick and Tom, one last time. It was their final rodeo. And to go back to where I started, where I began my NFL journey, and knock 2 of those guys out of the tournament who had such a ton of respect for, that was a special night. But probably the most memorable night, and it's kind of ironic that Andy's here. I haven't met Andy. I hope to talk to him after the thing. I get either kicked out of here or I just shut up. But we're playing the Baltimore Ravens the very next week in Baltimore, M&T, and it was loud. They were the number 1 seed. They had Lamar Jackson, a ton of good guys on defense. I can remember several plays in the game. Khalif Raymond caught a huge touchdown on a play-action pass. Jarrell Casey caused a fumble. Jeffrey Simmons got on it. Derrick Henry had one of his many stiff arms when he hit Earl Thomas and knocked him into another solar system. But the biggest memory from that game was in the locker room. And Governor Bill Lee was there. And he is jumping around like a kid in a candy store. And he gave me the biggest hug. And he said, I have never, ever been around anything like this. He goes, thank you. This is awesome. So for the governor of my home, we just played football game. It was great. We won. But here's the governor. He's one of the leaders of our country. He's hugging me, thanking me because he's getting to experience something. I'll never forget that moment in the locker room. But I think what I'm most proud of, looking back on my tenure, is the people. Making sure that everybody in that building, from the Pro Bowl players to Miss Maryland. Miss Maryland had our coffee ready every morning at 5 a.m. Jon Albertson, our director of security, who's still a close friend, who shook my hand and cried like a baby the day I was let go. Said, I'll follow you anywhere. To Jerome Klein, our 4th equipment manager, young guy, said, thank you for your leadership and showing me what it is to be a man and a dad. See, when people feel valued, they give you more. When they feel seen, they buy in. That's how you build something real. It's not just talent, it's connection. And I didn't get that right every time, but when we were at our best, that's how it looked. From 23 to 25, I took a role with Win Sports Group, it's a sports agency group. Represent players, they represent coaches and executives. And I did interview prep with those players and put them through the paces of what the combine was going to be like, what's their pro day going to be like. I watched film with them, I quizzed them. I had made those decisions. I'd been in the pro game for 23 years. I knew everything that they were about to go through, and I was giving them the answers to the test. I was giving back. And I got so much joy when Brock Bowers texts me and says, "Hey, J-Rob, thank you for taking me through that. I just crushed this interview." Or J.J. McCarthy, who went to the Vikings in the first round, calls me and says, "They tried to get me on this or tried to get me on that, but you had me prepped for that." I realized I'd given back to the game. I did the same thing with coaches and executives. Todd Monken in Cleveland, I helped him. Liam Cohen in Jacksonville, I helped him. And then one of the guys I helped for the last 2 years was John Eric Sullivan. John Eric's now the general manager of the Miami Dolphins. He was assistant GM with the Green Bay Packers. And John Eric's dad was a longtime coach. He grew up in the game. He wanted to be a personnel man. He wanted to run a team. I worked with him for 2 years on how to interview, the tricks of how to interview. And then boom, he finally got it. So he called me and said, "Hey, we're the same age," but he goes, "I could use an old head down here to help me out." Like, well, I'm just kind of sitting around the house. I don't really have anything. So I took a job with the Dolphins in February. I helped him through the draft process. I helped him through free agency. But when I got there, one of the first things that I did was I focused on learning people's names. So that when I walked into the cafeteria, it wasn't just, "Hey, how are you?" It was, "Good morning, Gene." See, Gene works in the mailroom 3 a day. He keeps the place running. It was, "Hey, Caesar, how's your day going?" Caesar empties trash cans all day. When you do something like that, something changes. Gene knows he matters. Caesar feels like he's important. And when everybody feels that way, you don't just have a workplace, you got a team. And those people that have those jobs, they feel like that what they do impacts the outcome of the game on Sunday. That's what I did in Tennessee. That's what I'm doing in Miami. Leadership, it's not really about title, it's not about status, it's about how you make people feel, how can you make the team better. None of us are perfect in this world. Only one man has the distinction of walking this earth that way. One of my favorite scriptures, I'm going back through the New Testament now, is in Philippians, and it's 2, 3, and 4, and I'm going to read it. It says, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility consider others as more important than yourselves. Everyone should look not to his own interest, but rather to the interest of others." And that's kind of where I'm at in my career path. I had a phone call coming in with a young man. He's graduating from Hobart College. He wants to get into personnel. I know his dad. His dad's coached a long time. Spent 45 minutes talking to him about how he can crack into the business and get an opportunity, and then how do you grow in the business. Talked a little bit about my family. I'll give you a quick update. My oldest is a junior at North Carolina. Go Heels. She's majoring in human organization. I had to ask her, by the way. They got so many majors now, human and organizational leadership development with minors in psychology and Spanish. She just got back from Spain. Really roughed it over there. We got to go study abroad, Dad. But I get to see Belichick occasionally, go visit with him. He's still, I love him. He's still crusty, and his football teams aren't very good, but hopefully that changes. And my youngest is a high school senior at Franklin Road Academy, right down the street from where we live there in Oak Hill. And she's looking at Miami and Florida, Ohio State, and TCU. I don't know if I'm sure there's Tennessee fans in there. There's one back, maybe some Alabama. If I can't get her to look at Bama or Tennessee, I even called Heupel. I said, I will give you money, Josh, and you offer her an NIL deal, and maybe we could swing this thing over to Knoxville. That didn't work. I'm kidding. I didn't do that with Josh, but Josh is a good friend. So my family's doing great. I'm extremely blessed. And I'll close with this and then open it up if, a couple questions. Be nice. But Union City really helped shape who I am. And if there's one thing that I've learned along the way after 25 years in pro football and 50 years on this earth is people, they forget wins, they will forget titles, they forget the records, but they won't, again, forget how you made them feel. So whatever role you are in, whatever title you may hold, that's the part that lasts. I don't know what's next for us. We'll be empty nesters. But I'm going to close with the chorus of the song that I started with. And that's probably definitely in our plans. It says, so long, Nashville, Tennessee. You can't have what's left of me. As far as I can tell, it's high time I wish you well. You built me up, you set me free, you tore down my memories. So you be you, and I'll be me. So long, Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you guys for having me.
Anybody got questions?
I'm good. Randy, I could still draw up 36 twister, 28 sweep down.
He's got a new joke.
Hey, just for their knowledge here, would you share with them how the salary cap works in the NFL?
We don't have enough time, Randy.
Briefly, what is it?
Yeah, so the salary cap is basically, it's they take all of the revenue that's generated from the TV deals and all of that, and you get this number, and it's a complex mathematical formula, and you're assigned a number. I think the number this year is 250. This is called 250. I don't have the number off the top of my head. I used to when I ran teams. I don't run teams anymore. This is that they got $250 million as your cap. Well, it's kind of funny money because there's ways around the cap, and teams handle the cap differently. How you structure contracts. So there's a cash budget and there's a cap budget. And you can give a guy a huge signing bonus and sign him to a 10-year deal. And that first year of that deal will be a very low cap number because that signing bonus gets spread out over 10 years. So you're able to kind of massage the cap to get around your roster, your cash budget. Your owner has to be willing to spend. I always tried to spend right about the cap or like 5 to 10% over. But you have teams like Philadelphia who they put void years on contracts, so they don't really count, but it helps spread the cap out. And their cash budget is probably well over $300 million. So their cash spending is over the cap that the league, but the way that they structure the contracts, they're able to get their cap number under the 250 to be in compliance.
John,
did you get all that, Randy? You're just shaking your head at me.
All of this is taking place, Melstown, college, and of course high school. What do you see for the next 10 years with these young people that are looking at the money?
I do think this. The one thing that the NIL era and the salaries of college players, it has provided them some type of finances to work through at a young age, so that when they get to the NFL, if they're good enough to make it there, then they have somebody working with them and they know how to, all right, I got to pay bills. For the longest, before that happened, you would have players that they didn't know they had to pay a water bill or a car. They go out and buy a brand new, Range Rover or whatever, and it's like, well, how are you going to pay your electric bill? How are you going to pay? So we had to educate them. I feel like they're getting educated on the financial process of being a pro athlete sooner. Now, from the college game, where does that go, or where does it end? I don't know, but as the old saying, the paste is out of the tube now, and it ain't going back. These guys are getting money now; they're not going back.
Just 30 seconds, if you want, Ty Simpson, what has happened here in the West Tennessee to taking this to the biggest star that we've gotten in football, I think, today?
With Ty? I like Ty. Yeah, I know Jason very well. I met with I was actually working with the sports agency group, and they were recruiting Ty to represent him, and he ended up going with someone else. But we brought Ty in to Miami and visited with Ty. He's an extremely grounded young man. I think he landed offensively in a great system. I think Sean McVay is an extremely brilliant offensive mind. I think he has a quarterback-friendly system. He likes to mix the run game and the pass game in, which behooves Ty's skill set, in my opinion. And I think the fact that he gets to sit behind Matthew Stafford is going to make him better. And just knowing Ty's personality from my interactions with him, and the fact that his dad, Jason, is a ball guy, he's going to immerse himself in that offensive system and learning and picking Matthew Stafford's brain, so that when he gets his opportunity, he'll be ready to go. I think one of the worst things you can do for young quarterbacks now is put them out there too early, simply because the speed of the game is different. The timing is such imperative with the receivers. The line play it's hard to find offensive linemen. It's just hard to find them. So being able to sit, much like, I'm not saying Ty Simpson's Patrick Mahomes, but Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith in Kansas City. Tom Brady sat behind Drew Bledsoe. And a lot of the really, really, really good players, Peyton Manning stunk his first year in Indy, but he learned and he grew. I think it's going to help Ty to sit behind Matthew, work in Sean's system, and I think he's got a bright future in the league.
Give us a preview of the Dolphins.
Be a long year. That's not on record, by the way. Don't print that. It's great. We've got two of the players that I had in Tennessee. We signed Malik Willis, who I drafted in Tennessee in the third round. He's had a really good spring. And Aaron Brewer, the center, he's a Pro Bowl center. I signed him as an undrafted free agent out of Texas State, coming out of college. Both great guys. It was cool to see Malik and his parents. When he came to sign, he gave me the biggest hug, and his dad gave me the hug. He's like, "You're one of the few that believed in Malik. Thank you for drafting him when you did." But we were in a cap situation in Miami where we had to flush it. We were over the cap. And the only way to do it is to move high players. We traded, Jalen Waddle. We traded Minkah Fitzpatrick. Those guys get the problem with the cap. Not to go back to that, but when you get into year 2, 3, 4, that cap number skyrockets. And when you have 4, 5, or 6 players with huge cap numbers, it's just hard to build a team. So we just flushed those guys out, traded them, moved on, and take our lumps, try to get as many picks, build a young team with a new coach and a new GM, and then see where it goes.
Do the Titans really need a new stadium at this point?
No comment. I helped design the new one, though.
If a kid runs a 4.29 40,
he's fast.
How important is the Wonderlic test if he can do that?
Well, you can't give the Wonderlic test anymore.
No.
So that's been, you know, that you can't do that anymore.
So that answers the question right there.
Well, it does, but it doesn't, because I think players that don't make it, they really fall into a couple of different buckets. A, they don't work hard enough. God's given them great tools or something, and they don't work hard enough. Which is 1A to that is their heart's really not in it. They don't really love football. And 2 is like they mentally, the game is too fast for them to process. Like, we had a receiver on named Stan when I was in New England, really good player, Pro Bowl caliber player. He ran a route, and Brady dropped back. He was getting ready to throw, and the receiver came out of his break yet, and it was not Randy Moss. Randy was a very football smart guy. So ran play again. Receiver's still not out of his break. Brady's getting ready to rip it. I'll never forget Brady yelled at Belichick. He goes, "Bill, get over here." So Bill, what's going on? So he's like, "I don't care what you traded to get that guy. If he's not where he's supposed to be when I'm supposed to throw it, I'm not throwing him the ball, and he won't play." So the mental component and the ability, all right, I'm running 4-2-9, and it looks like it's cover 3, but they're rolling and it's really cover 2, and I'm supposed to run this route versus this coverage, but the coverage just changed and I've got to change my route and run this, all while running speed. Like, all of that stuff is what these guys have to go through, because it's not like they're just playing out in the yard and you just run and get open. Like, there's timing and there's concepts, and so the mental component is extremely. Like, Wes Welker was one of our best players in New England. Wes ran 4.85, but he was extremely smart and he had great short area quickness. So, yes, Coach.
Tariq Hill suffered injury in Miami traded. Is he finished in NFL?
It was a pretty bad injury. I don't know if he's done. Somebody will probably work him out and give him a chance. But when you dislocate a knee and you rip all the ligaments in the knee, we got some docs in here. That ain't very good. So, and his game was really predicated on speed. He'll have another opportunity, but he's probably over. I don't know how old Cheetah is. He's over 30 though, I think, and coming off a knee injury, it's going to take a little time.
So on the salary cap you're talking about, I know it's designed for Major League Baseball is getting ready to fight. Owners are fighting for the salary cap, and players are disputing it and threatening to strike it. Is that, you think salary cap is good for Major League Baseball? Is it good for football?
I don't know enough about baseball really, but I do know like that. I think he plays for the Dodgers. Ohtani, he makes a ton of money, but he's probably worth it. He's pretty good. I think it's just. I think the reason MLB is probably fighting for it is to create fair competition across the league, so that one team can't just buy up all the good players, which is similarly what the Dodgers and the Yankees have done forever, right? Is buy the really good players, and then the other teams, they just will play and then we'll go home. That's probably why the ownership groups want that, is to create competitive balance across the league. Players want to make as much money as they can make because they can't play the sport for very long. So I don't know where that will get resolved at, but that'll be a tough battle for them to kind of work through. All right, thanks guys, appreciate it.
You've been listening to 30 Minutes, a community affairs program on Thunderbolt Radio. You can listen to this broadcast and others anytime by visiting thunderboltradio.com and following the Thunderbolt Radio and Digital YouTube page. Thanks for listening.